So, like Megan mentioned, I'm talking today about healthy sleep strategies, and I'm hopeful to give you all some very practical tips. Um, we know, as Megan mentioned, that sleep is vital for a healthy and happy life. If you're not sleeping, you're probably not feeling your best, and you're probably feeling it cognitively. Sleep is restorative. It's the one time of the day that your body is able to recover from everything that you've done that day and also build energy up for the day ahead. It's kind of that transitional time your body is recovering and preparing, as well as your brain. So if you're not getting that sleep, then you're feeling it the next day. Research shows that sleep is critical to all aspects of health. It's important for our emotional health, our cognitive health, and of course, our physical health. And adults who sleep too little and also too much, I want to emphasize that there is research that the happy medium is key. People that are sleeping too little and also too much are found to have accelerated signs of cognitive aging. So we know as we get older, our memory struggles. And we know that we, in general, have difficulty finding words and communicating. It gets harder. And if we have a diagnosis of MCI or, another neurological condition, then it can become increasingly problematic. And then if you're not sleeping on top of that, it's just going to make that even harder. So we're going to dive into what that could look like. Some of the reasons that older adults are not getting enough sleep are things like anxiety. Maybe you're laying in bed at night and you just cannot turn your brain off. You're sitting there thinking about the 100 things on your to-do list and what needs to happen tomorrow and maybe everything that happened today. Also, things like illness can be a problem. Maybe you have a cold and are not breathing well. So laying down in bed is uncomfortable and you're having trouble sleeping. Maybe you have back pain or an injury that's causing you pain, and that's keeping you up at night. And then, of course, like I briefly mentioned, bladder incontinence is extremely common. And we'll get into a little bit more of that in just a second. Sleep apnea is another big problem for older adults, adults in general. But sleep apnea can present itself in different ways. It can cause you to stay awake at night and wake up throughout the night. But sleep apnea can also affect you in ways that maybe you are getting the recommended hours of sleep, but it is disrupted because of your sleep apnea. So you're still waking up feeling groggy and awful. So we'll talk about that. And then restless leg syndrome is another really common one. A lot of times people that struggle with restless leg syndrome will lay awake in bed and are just restless. Maybe they have like tingling in their legs and it's just keeping them up at night. Some of the things that a lack of sleep can lead to are just feeling sluggish. You wake up the next day and just kind of feel crappy. Difficulty concentrating, irritability, maybe you're a little bit moody or short-tempered with the people that you love because you're not sleeping. I know I've been there. Memory problems, feelings of depression and increased anxiety can happen if you're not sleeping well. And then more falls and accidents can happen. If you are not sleeping well, you're not able to perform at the top of your game. So that can show up in how you're interacting with others, how you're thinking and recalling, and then also how you're performing physically. So maybe your balance isn't up to where it normally is, or maybe you're a little bit weaker that day because your body wasn't able to fully recover that night. Or, maybe you're just not concentrating like you normally would, and you miss the curb that you're trying to step up onto. So, as you can see, not getting enough sleep can be problematic in all areas of life. And it is super common here in America, I'm sure worldwide, but specifically here in America. So that is why we're talking about it today. And I want to know, adults are suggested to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. And I'm curious, I want you to put in the chat, if you're regularly getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night, so most nights of the week you get the recommended number, I want you to put a yes in the chat. Go ahead and type it in. And if not, if you are on the lower end of that, maybe you get 4 hours of sleep, anything less than 7 to 9, I want you to comment no in the chat. And I'll give everybody a few minutes to answer, but I want to see where we're at. Good. We've got a good variety. Some people are, a lot are not. Maybe. Good. Perfect. Yes, but interrupted. That's common. And we know that if maybe you are getting, maybe you get in bed at 9 o'clock every single night, no matter what, and you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep, but you're waking up throughout the night, whether it's to go to the bathroom or, just waking up and thinking about things, then you're not getting the good sleep stages that your body needs. So even if, you are laying in bed for 7 to 9 hours, even if it's disrupted, it can become problematic. Thank you all for answering. So here are some of the statistics. Research shows that 1 in 8 adults have trouble sleeping. So you're not alone. As you can see in the chat, if you're not getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep at night, you're not alone. And 1 in 6 adults with sleep conditions use a sleep medication, whether that's a prescribed medication or something over the counter, maybe like ZQuil or melatonin. So we're going to talk about some healthy sleep habits and hopefully some practical takeaways that you can use and try out maybe tonight or this weekend. Some of the things that we're going to talk about is adjusting your daily routines and habits, changing your sleep environment, and looking at your sleep hygiene. So when it comes to adjusting your daily routines, I know that there are some parts of your day that are written in stone. It's unavoidable. This is what my day is going to look like. But I want to encourage you to restructure your daytime activities to focus on balance as much as you're able to. If you can move things around to keep a nice balanced day, I encourage you to do that. Maybe don't schedule all of your appointments on one day because it's convenient to get down there and just spend one day there. Too much or too little activity in one day can cause sleep disturbances. So whether it's you have a jam-packed day and you're going to a doctor's appointment and going to get a birthday present for your grandkid, and then you have the birthday party and then dinner, all of the things in one day can be taxing on your body and disturb your sleep that night. But in the same sense, too little activity. So maybe you have a day where you are on the couch and you're watching the game show channel or Hallmark all day long, and you get up to have a sandwich for dinner, but that's really it for the day. Both ends of the spectrum can be problematic when it comes to getting your sleep in. On one end, you're wearing your body out too much and you're past the point of no return. It's like a toddler that has stayed up past midnight and is now just being crazy because, they're past the point of no return. But on the other end, your body's energy gauge is still too high because you haven't used any of your energy yet. So when you go to lay down after you've been on the couch all day, your body doesn't want to turn off because you haven't used the energy that it built up the night before. Another thing to look at is your caffeine intake. You want to avoid drinking caffeine anytime after lunch. And caffeine comes kind of hidden in things. It's not just coffee or energy drinks. Caffeine is also in sodas like Coke. It's also in teas. So if you're a big sweet tea drinker or unsweet tea drinker, tea has caffeine in it, and so does chocolate. So if you're somebody that eats your dinner and then likes a big bowl of chocolate ice cream, like my husband does, then that could also be contributing to your lack of sleep because you're getting increased caffeine right before bed. Another thing that I want to encourage you to look at is your exercise. I know that you all have heard this, especially if you have been part of our CEP Live community for any amount of time, but exercise really is crucial, and moving your body can play a big role in how you're sleeping at night. So I mentioned earlier that energy gauge that your body has and how it can't be too low, but it also can't be too full. And just a little light aerobic exercise is linked to better sleep in general. Even if it means walking up and down your driveway or walking, the little grass plot that you have around your house. It doesn't have to be a 30-minute pumping exercise routine. It doesn't even have to be a 30-minute walk up the neighborhood. Use what you have. Even if you're walking back and forth to the end of your driveway, that's good. You're getting your blood pumping, you're moving the blood throughout your body, and you're also using some of that energy store. I'm in the world of kids, but just like, if my kids come home and I know that they haven't done much or we've been in the car a lot, we take them outside to make them run their energy off. And we're very similar. If we've been inside on the couch all day, we need to run some of that energy off. So doing a little bit of exercise can be beneficial. You also can look at changing your sleep environment. So you want to be sure that you're in a nice, good, dark room. Getting things like blackout curtains can be really helpful because even if you have a street light down the road or a floodlight on your house, things like that come in through the window and tell your body that it's not dark out, it's not time to go to bed. So making sure that there's no lighting visible in your room. Adjusting the temperature so that it's cooler. I know us here in Atlanta, my air conditioning is running on all cylinders all day, but turning it down another degree or two at night is ideal. If your body is too hot, it's not going to rest well. It wants to be a little bit cooler. You could try adding white noise. This is something that I do in my household. It started because we had kids and the monitor played white noise in our room. But now, even when we go away without the kids, we have white noise because if your room is too quiet, then you will hear every noise. And if you live somewhere like a neighborhood or a city or just an old creaky house, then anytime that you hear that noise or the sound decibels go up in your room, then you're going to notice it. Whether you fully wake up or not, your body is going to notice it. So having that white noise just kind of keeps things steady and blocks out all of those other subtle noises so that you're just hearing the white noise. You could also consider looking into a new mattress, maybe a mattress pad or a new pillow. I know that these types of things are complicated and can get expensive, but there are things like cooling mattress pads that help keep your mattress cool. Also, if you've had the same mattress for the last 40 years, then it may be really broken in and just not supporting your body in the way that it should. And then looking at a good pillow. Again, if your spine is not in a good position and your body is just uncomfortable, it's not going to want to go to sleep. You could also try using a weighted blanket. This goes back to the idea that our body just likes proprioceptive input. That weight of the blanket, usually they're like not very heavy, like 10 pounds. But it's just enough to kind of put pressure on your body and calm your nervous system down. This would especially be good if you're somebody that tends to get restless, maybe restless legs, or just anxious in the evenings. A weighted blanket can really help calm your nervous system down and get you into more of a relaxed state. And then another option, if you're like, I'm not putting blackout curtains, I've had the same curtains my whole life, I'm not doing it. Or you're like, I'm not buying a white sound machine, you're nuts. Then trying something like an eye mask to block any of the light out, or earplugs so that you're not hearing your air conditioning cut on and off all night, or, whatever the sound might be. Those are some things to try when it comes to your environment. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat because I see that we have a lot of comments.
Yeah, we've got a few comments coming into the chat, Tracy. We definitely have some folks that have done things like buy cooling mattresses and really love the effect of just some supplemental items to make, maybe if it's not easy to turn the temperature down in the room, getting that cooling pad underneath you can be a great solution. And one of the questions that we have is what color nightlight is recommended for sleep at night?
So we are actually going to go into that. I have a whole slide on night lights. So I will get there on the color and option type. So we'll get there. I do see one about TV, and I get this comment a lot, especially from our participants. And I want to say to turn your TV off. I know, especially if you're somebody that has, always slept with the TV on, and you're like, I need my TV. I'm not turning it off. Your brain is processing that information, even if you are asleep. Even if you're somebody that sleeps and you're like, I sleep 9 hours a night. That's not a problem for me. If your TV is on, then your brain, your ears are hearing, and your brain is processing whatever conversation is having on the TV. It's an automatic response. And so you're not fully resting. Your eyes may be closed, your body may be resting, but your brain is still active and trying to process what's going on. So turning the TV off is a good option, especially to protect your brain. Okay, I'm going to keep going and I will check the chat back. Okay. The other thing is looking at your sleep hygiene. And I know that this is kind of like a weird word, sleep hygiene. You think of like grooming hygiene, but your sleep hygiene really is how you are taking care and preparing for sleep. So I want to encourage you to establish a reliable routine every day before you go to bed. Even if it's, I sit on the couch and watch TV, and then I get up and brush my teeth, and then I go lay in bed. Your body will recognize that routine and realize that it's time to start resting. No matter what that routine looks like, it could be that I stand on my head for 30 seconds and then do a cartwheel and then get in bed, whatever it is. Just establish a routine that your body can rely on every single day. That way it knows, okay, we've done these things. Now it's time to start calming down. And then try having a set wind down time before bed. If you are up running around, cleaning your house, doing the laundry, washing the dishes, paying your bills, and then you go straight in to lay down to go to bed, your brain's going to be like, yeah, right, we just ran a marathon. We're not going anytime soon. So try having a set time, whether it's an hour or 30 minutes, that you kind of just take some time to breathe, avoid extra stimulation, calm your body down, calm your nervous system down, and prepare yourself for good, restful sleep. You can also try a relaxing guided meditation to help you turn your brain off. I really love these. I kind of forgot how much I love these, but last night I listened to one because of this PowerPoint, and they are free, lots of free ones on YouTube. There's also apps like Calm that have them on them, but it just is like somebody with a really soothing voice telling you to relax and telling you to relax your toes. And you don't realize that you're not relaxing your toes until someone tells you to relax your toes. So I encourage you, if you've never tried it, just go try it for my sake, and then email us and let us know what you think. But I really love relaxing guided meditations, and it's a good way to remind you to release the tension and turn your brain off. Because I think sometimes, even me, when I was doing this last night, I was laying there and I was listening to this guy on YouTube tell me to just feel how comfortable you are in the bed and relax your toes and relax your calf muscles. And you don't realize how much tension you're holding in these random places of your body instead of fully relaxing. So I encourage you to try it. Let me know what you think. Or if you have done it before, let me know in the chat what you think about relaxing guided meditations. And then if you have trouble sleeping, get up and leave your bedroom. I know people, and my husband who struggles with insomnia and staying awake at night, who will lay in bed for like 3 hours and just not be able to sleep and get so frustrated. But at that point, your body is not looking at it as you're trying to go to sleep. Like, you're past the point. You're past the point of no return, like we talked about earlier. So if you're having trouble sleeping, you've laid in your bed for 30 minutes and it's just not happening, get up and get out of your room. Do not sit there and torture yourself, because it's not going to happen. So if you've laid there, give it a good shot, go in there, lay down, do your relaxing meditation. And if after 30 minutes you're still wide awake, then leave your room and go do something relaxing. Maybe do one of those adult coloring books, or read a book, or flip through a magazine, or, whatever. Don't just lay awake in your bed, because you're not helping yourself. You're telling your brain that this is normal, and it's not. So don't let yourself just lay awake in bed. Go do something and then come back and try again later. Okay, the much awaited topic. I'm going to move my little thing. Okay, nocturia is defined, it's the medical term for the need to get up in the middle of the night and regularly urinate. This is defined as a problem if you're getting up more than 2 times. So 2 times or more in the middle of the night, then it's not normal. And a lot of people think that this is just, I'm getting old. It's normal to have to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. But I want to tell you that it's not. It's not normal, and it is common. Common and normal are not the same. So that if you are somebody that is feeling the need to get up and go to the bathroom a bunch of times in the middle of the night, this can be associated with long-term sleep deprivation. Your body is not resting. If you are going to bed, you're sleeping 7 hours, even if you go twice, if you think about it, you're disrupting that small 7-hour time frame 2 times when you could be getting good REM sleep and deep sleep. You're waking up, going into the bathroom, and then having to restart the process all over. So norm or common is not normal. I don't want you to think that getting up and having to go to the bathroom a bunch of times is just part of normal aging, because it's not. However, 1 in 3 adults over 30 years old, so this isn't just an older adult problem, this is a problem, make at least 2 trips to the bathroom in a single night. So it's prevalent. Some of the things that you can do to try to counteract this is limit your fluid intake after dinner. If you're somebody like me that tries to get a good amount of water in throughout your day, and you get to dinner time and realize, man, I have only taken 2 drinks of water all day, and try to catch up after dinner, you're not helping yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure. So try to drink. Please keep drinking your water. Do not take this as you should not be hydrating, because you should. And if you stop hydrating, you'll have a whole nother slew of problems. So drink your water, but do it earlier in the day. Start drinking water as soon as you wake up in the morning, and then drink water all the way up until dinner time. But then don't drink after dinner. Try elevating your lower extremities or using compression stockings after dinner. So this is my one time I'm going to give you permission to eat dinner and then go sit in the recliner and kick your feet up. Increase your physical activity, of course, is going to be on the list. Limit your salt intake. We as Americans take in a lot of salt. So limit your salt intake, limit your fluid intake. There are medications. I'm not going to go into them because there's a whole slew of them based on where the problem originates from, but there are medications that can help with this problem, if it's a problem for you. And then my last recommendation is pelvic floor physical therapy. If this continues to be a problem and you try limiting your fluid intake, you are not drinking caffeine in the afternoons, you're, doing all the things, and you're like, okay, but I'm still getting up and going to the bathroom all night long, then I want to encourage you to either seek out a pelvic floor physical therapist or ask your doctor for a recommendation to a pelvic floor physical therapist. They can work with you on increasing your bladder muscles and things like that. So it's not normal, and there are other options to help with this. Okay. However, if you are still somebody that gets up and goes to the bathroom or whatever it might be in the middle of the night, I want to take a couple of minutes to talk about safety at nighttime. Getting up in the middle of the night can be very dangerous, and there are a lot of factors that contribute to this. Medications that are intended to make you drowsy or help you sleep at night can also impair your balance. So if you're taking something like trazodone or a prescribed medication that is intended to make you drowsy and fall asleep better, then your brain is not working at max capacity when you wake up 4 hours later and go to the bathroom. That puts you at a fall risk. If you are somebody that has lower body weakness or impaired balance, you're already a fall risk during the day, and that makes it even worse at night. If you have vision problems, it will throw off your balance. We, as occupational therapists and here at CEP, when we test somebody's balance, we look at their balance with their eyes open. We then have them close their eyes and look at their balance. We put them on an incline, have them close their eyes and look at their balance. And it's because we know that people's balance is worse with their eyes closed. And having your house pitch black, it being nighttime outside, is much like trying to walk around with your eyes closed. So vision problems, low lighting, and if you already have vision problems and you're not putting your glasses on and then trying to walk to the bathroom in the pitch black environment, then you're really setting yourself up for failure. Another thing is vitamin D deficiency can throw off your balance and make your safety worse. Sensation disturbances, things like numbness or tingling on the bottom of your feet can throw off your balance. And then home barriers. If you're somebody that throws all of your clothes on the floor or, has all of the clutter next to your nightstand, then again, you're setting yourself up for failure if you're getting up in the middle of the night. So some things to consider are proper footwear. I encourage people to wear shoes even at night, even if it's those like slip-on slippers that have a good sole on the bottom. But just something to provide you a little bit of stability so that if you're getting up in the middle of the night, you're not walking around in your slippery socks, confused in the darkness, because that's a recipe for disaster. And then spend some time outside. During your day, I encourage you to go get outside. I know it's 150 degrees here right now in Georgia, but I encourage you to get a little bit of sunlight. If you're somebody that sits in your house a lot, especially, go sit on the porch. Just get out on your back porch, get a little bit of vitamin D, especially in the mornings while it's still cool out, and you will see a world of difference. Having good vitamin D levels, especially the morning sun, can improve your sleep quality. It improves your body's natural melatonin production and can help you fall asleep a lot faster. It also helps your body get on a good daily routine. We talked about earlier how your body can predict what it's supposed to do. That's one of the great things about being a human. So if you are getting outside and getting natural sunlight, then you're helping your body recognize, okay, it's daytime, and getting your circadian rhythms in a good routine. Natural sunlight and vitamin D also can help improve your mood. It boosts your serotonin production, which is your feel-good hormone, and just overall makes you feel better when you have natural sunlight in your body. It also can help with stress reduction. So again, if you're somebody that gets really restless at night or agitated or anxious in the evenings, then getting outside, getting vitamin D, especially in the mornings, can really help combat that. And then it also helps with your immune system. UVA and UVB rays can help boost your immune function to help keep you healthier. And then night lights. This is, I always joke that Maureen, who is the other occupational therapist at CEP, we should be sponsored by Mr. Beam because we recommend them so frequently. But Mr. Beam is a type of nightlight that is motion activated. So these little guys right here, you can see the little motion detected light on top. They have like command strips on the back. So you can put these night lights wherever you need them. You can line your baseboard going to the bathroom if you need to. And they won't keep you up all night because they won't be on all night. They only turn on once they detect your motion. And the command strip is nice because not everybody has a frequent number of outlets. So you don't need an electrician to come to your house to get these in. You just peel the back off, stick them to the wall, and then they're motion activated. You can get them at like Home Depot or Amazon. We recommend a lot of Amazon. So Mr. Beam nightlights, they're easy to install, they're battery operated. So if you're laying in bed, you could have one on your baseboard so that as soon as you wake up and put your feet on the floor, that little light turns on at your baseboard to light your path instead of, having to turn on a lamp right there at your eye and disrupt your circadian rhythm. They also make these in amber tones. That's that like orangey light that you see. So getting these in amber tones and having them down low on your walkway is a really good way to be able to see where you're going, but also not disrupt your sleep cycle. If you're having to get up to go to the bathroom, then the last thing that you want to do is have to get in there, flip the light on, wake yourself fully up while you're going to the bathroom, and then turn it off and be blinded by the light and have to navigate getting back in bed in the pitch black. So get some amber toned nightlights. You could also consider a bedside commode or a urinal. These little bedside commodes here are nice because you could put them as close to the bed as you want. I mean, I would keep them enough away, but you could make it so that you just have to stand up, pivot over, and you could use the bathroom right there. And then in the morning, once all of your senses are about you, you could take it and dump it in the toilet. If you're a male, then you could use one of these urinals to keep from having to go in and out of the bathroom and walk through your house in the night. So these are nice. And then again, in the morning, you could just dump it in the toilet. If you are having sleep problems, I want to encourage you to talk openly with your physician. I hope if you don't get anything else out of this PowerPoint and you're like, this girl's crazy, I'm not doing anything else, I have enough on my plate, then I want to encourage you that this is common. Sleep problems are common, but they are not normal. This is not something that you just have to deal with. You don't have to feel crappy for the rest of your life. I encourage you to talk openly with your physician and just see if you can get to the root of the problem. Your health depends on it. If you want to live a long, joyful life, then getting enough sleep depends on it. And that's all I have for you this afternoon. I'm going to take another quick look at the chat because we have a lot of comments in here, but
Yeah, one of the comments that came up, Tracy, and this is something that has actually come up in some of our other CEP settings. When I asked the question this morning about who all is experiencing disturbances in sleep, one of the first questions that came up was, I've tried a CPAP machine, but it didn't work for me. What are other alternatives? And I'm curious for people who maybe gave it a short chance or have tried the CPAP machine, whether it's the feeling of it or the sound of it, what are some recommendations from an occupational therapist standpoint that you would have for that?
I, again, want to tell you that that is normal. My husband actually has sleep apnea and tried a CPAP machine and gave it a good, honest try, like really tried to stick with it. And it just wasn't working for him. It was making it worse. It was keeping him up late at night. But I do want to encourage you to talk to your doctor. We have, he has a doctor through Emory, and there are other options. There is a dental implant that you can get. There is a surgery that you can get. Sleep apnea is a very serious condition. Your longevity of your life depends on it. I mean, if you look at the statistics of people that have sleep apnea, it's not good if it goes untreated, just because one, your brain is not getting oxygen however many times, they do the sleep test and like 55 times last night you stopped breathing. So I want to encourage you that there are other options to look into, but to do something about it, because sleep apnea is not a joke. It's very serious. And it's not just, I'm not sleeping well and I feel crappy and I can live with that. I mean, your body is not getting oxygen when you have sleep apnea. So the CPAP machine pushes oxygen to your body. But I get it. I get that a CPAP is a crazy thing that you have to wear strapped to your face, which is not normal and can make it even harder to sleep. So I would just see what other options are out there for you and maybe give those a try. Megan, you're on mute.
There's all different masks available and different options that are outside of that CPAP machine. So if you've gone into that and felt unsuccessful, keep searching for solutions. And one of the questions that we got that I think is a great question is a question about, we talked a little bit about the relationship of not sleeping affects cognition, but this idea about what is the relationship between MCI and sleep. And we're going to talk a lot about this next week. Dr. Glenna Brewster is coming from the sleep lab that she runs, where she studies specifically populations that have MCI and dementia, and all she studies is sleep. So she's going to share with us a lot about that. But what we do know is that research shows that sleep disturbances are more common in individuals with MCI compared to normal cognition. And a lot of those nighttime behaviors are especially more common. So those sleep disturbances can be very prevalent, and they sometimes can be predictive of more cognitive decline if you start letting those nights add up, add up, add up. Identifying and treating those sleep problems is really crucial to preserving cognitive function and delaying the progression of dementia. And we want to really kind of throw that out there, that when you get the right sleep, they are also contributing to help slow that progression. So we're going to talk a lot about that next week. The practical tips that you've gotten from Tracy today are really to say, what can we do? And I'm curious if you have any thoughts about that and your experience working at the Cognitive Empowerment Program, Tracy, and in this population, the specific correlation between MCI and sleep.
I think you covered it well, Megan. I mean, the less that we're sleeping, the more poorly, I guess, we will perform cognitively. So if you have a diagnosis of MCI, or your loved one has a diagnosis of MCI, and you realize that they or you are not sleeping well, then that is only exacerbating your symptoms. So if your memory was poor before and now you're not sleeping on top of it, your memory is going to be worse. If you had trouble with word finding before and now you're not sleeping on top of it, that's going to be worse as well. So I think, just recognizing that sleep is really a protective habit that you can have to help protect your brain from that progression, but also just to help preserve your body's functions. Your brain needs sleep to recover, your body needs sleep to recover. So, just taking the steps to try to get to the root of whatever is causing your sleep disturbances, and not just taking it as, I don't sleep well, so that's part of life, like really digging into it and realizing that sleep shouldn't be optional.
And we had some comments in the chat about folks who kind of lay in bed. They go through, maybe they get a little time on their tablets, or they lay and kind of hang out and just assume that at least their body is resting. But one of the things we'll talk about next week a little bit more is that deep sleep plays such a role in memory consolidation, and that sleep impairments can really lead to difficulty in storing memories. So that is also something we'll talk about a lot next week. But I wrote down the night lights because I love that you suggested ones that don't have to be plugged into the wall, that don't have to have an outlet, that don't have to be installed. That was a big hit in the chat. And we put a link in the chat if you're curious about Mr. Bean or sponsoring us at the CEP Empowerment Program. One of the questions that came up again in the chat is about snoring. Is snoring the same as sleep apnea?
It is not. Snoring can be caused by a variety of things, including sleep apnea. That can be a symptom of sleep apnea, but they are not one and the same. Just because you snore does not mean that you have sleep apnea. If you're worried about it, I encourage you to go get a sleep study. They're extremely informative. And nowadays, they can do sleep studies at home. They send you home with the equipment and they, get it on their computer and tell you how many times you weren't sleeping throughout the night. One more thing I do want to add is if you are somebody that is having trouble sleeping, I want to encourage you to just play around with different things. There are, you can go down a rabbit hole of supplements and things to help sleep, but adding something like melatonin can be helpful. I did a continuing education recently on sleep, and one of the things that it talked about was individuals specifically with cognitive impairment and cognitive decline benefit from melatonin. Melatonin is kind of a placebo effect in normal adults. But if you have something neurologic going on in your brain, then a lot of times your body's not producing melatonin the way that a normal adult would. So trying melatonin, which is something simple and cheap and affordable, trying melatonin could be helpful because maybe your body's just not making melatonin like it should. And then also trying something like Calm, which is like a magnesium supplement. There are a lot of natural options that can help as well. So just play around with things, and see what works for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of information out there. Talk to your providers, talk to your doctors, have the sleep study done. And we're really excited next week to come back with a lot of the latest research for this population and sleep. So if you had some questions and curiosities come up this week, feel free to email us at that empowerment@emory.edu address. And or feel free to log in next week, Wednesday at 2 o'clock to continue this discussion a little bit more. You can have the agency not just to make better choices for you, but also for your home. So when you turn the lights down, when you turn the temperature down and sort of get those light blocking curtains and those things, it's also helping the person that you may be living alongside of as well. So thank you all so much. Thank you for your interest and your attention and your questions. And Dr. Tracy, thank you for your expertise and offering it with our audience this week.
Of course. Thank you all for joining us.
And if you've been struggling with sleep, know that you're not alone. This is a really common thing, but like Tracy said, it doesn't have to be a regular or a normal thing, and it shouldn't be. So let's remove some of the stigma about having these conversations. Let's talk to the folks around us and talk to our providers. And we'll be back next week. We'll also edit this video today and post it to YouTube tomorrow. So all this will be made available for you guys in the next 24 hours. So thank you again, Dr. Tracy, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.